the church sanctuary area, the existing church building?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're in a bit still sorting that piece out. It's a bit of a puzzle. There's a lot of existing kind of community programs that use that space that we're hoping to be able to retain. So there's a preschool there. There's also another congregation that leases use of the sanctuary part-time that we're hoping to retain a lease with. It's also currently used by the Annieman's Community Garden, which we're hoping we know that will remain. We're hoping to partner with in order to kind of help inform like the plan and the outreach. And there's an existing food pantry in partnership with that garden that operates there. But at the fellowship hall, which is in the back of the building, that's kind of the area that we're going to kind of utilize as the common house for cooperative. So it'll be kind of it's a nice open flexible use space, and there's a kitchen right off of that room, and then we're going to probably add a laundry facility off the side there. So
consider parking issues and how that's
40 to 44, and yeah, we're expanding. Part of the plan is to expand the existing there will be about parking for the residents and some of the existing parking. That is one of the constraints we're kind of trying to work through, is the interest in continuing to use it for some of those community uses that might require more parking, but then also trying to maximize the site for housing and such. So yeah,
more parking, more parking. Well, I knew
we're looking at about one parking space per unit, plus about 20 or so existing gravel parking spots on the west side of the property.
So what was the name of the project?
Yeah, we haven't landed on it. Yeah, we're still workshopping that. Yeah, so we're just calling it Maxwell Village for the moment, but that's a bit of a placeholder.
I just want to say I have lived here quite a while, and I was personally involved with the Trinity Methodist Church, which closed also.
Yeah,
as you probably know.
Yep.
I would have liked to have seen that in a similar community, since they had a good piece of land there and a prime school neighborhood to have some of their residents use if they had children. But I was a cooperative member of the Trinity kindergarten and was a member there when that church closed. I was not a lifelong member of that church, though.
That's the church also on Maxwell, right?
The one on Maxwell. But since it closed, I was the first one to leave there after they said one Sunday, the doors will be closed tomorrow. It was a very abrupt ending to a membership there. Very hurtful to a lot of people. And it's nice when a church can sell their property and make something that works for people in the community. And it's also retained for people who want to worship there. So I began worshiping there only on the word of one of the other people who had left Trinity earlier to attend Peace Presbyterian. I'm happy with the small group at Peace Presbyterian, and some of the people who live in the homes that have been developed and their homes, they are even joining us at church. Not a lot of them, but a few. And some have joined the choir, which was a very small choir, but they sounded good. I've seen a lot of good in this situation. I had also checked out a Lutheran church when I knew that Trinity was going to close. But the Sunday that I visited, there were only 11 members. And the outlook wasn't very sure the situation. Yeah. So it's it's important that this church community housing idea has grown. And I feel like the church is really helping a lot of the people who didn't have a church, but they're having to cooperate in the care of the property and then the parking. That's another thing. Sometimes we don't have a parking space because the people are taking up all the spots. They're supposed to reserve some for us.
Oh,
But we have been welcome to go use the Mormon church parking lot across the street. So,
Greater cooperation.
yeah, whatever way you're looking at it, it's helping people be more cooperative in this area. So I just thought I'd add that little tidbit.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Linda?
I'm just really blown away by a nonprofit entity creating affordable housing. And you say that the model that you're using is a hybrid, and I recognize, you know, some features of one model and features of another and features of yet another and all of that. Are there others like Square One, or is Square One the only one in Eugene Springfield area? And part B or C is, does Square One get any pushback from, I don't know, the establishment? How do you get to do something that is, for me, it looks so idealistic and so the right thing to do? How do you get to do that?
That's a loaded question. I'll start with the first one. I mean, I think we're the only ones developing cooperatively owned housing that I'm aware of. Yeah, definitely in Oregon. There's another organization, CASA, that converts manufactured growing parks to cooperative ownership. So there's one in Springfield that was it Hazelnut Grove that was put up for sale, but then purchased by the residents and organized as a cooperative. But in terms of new construction, I think we're the only ones doing that. We visited, in terms of combining the community land trust with the limited equity cooperative, there's a small nonprofit on Lopez Island called Lopez Community Land Trust that we visited that does this. And essentially we're trying to build that model at a larger scale. There's a few case studies throughout the nation, but not a lot. But there's other affordable housing developers in Lane County that are developing other types of housing, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of our niche. In terms of pushback from the establishment, I would say, you know, we built Emerald Village right here at the top of North Polk, and back in 2017. And anyways, our first 2 or 3 of these was very much fundraising and in-kind donation driven. We did tiny homes that were built. A lot of it was in-kind donations and such. So there wasn't a lot of existing public funding for the cooperative ownership model. So the state funding program, there's a rental housing program, and then there's a single family home ownership program. And so we spent a lot of time kind of amending those programs to allow the support cooperative ownership housing. And so Rosa Village, which is our next development, it'll be on Roosevelt and Bethel, co-located next to where the current Opportunity Village site is. That'll be the first site that receives state funding for a cooperatively owned housing development. So.
I want to mention a couple of places you may say I know about those.
Yeah.
You know about East Blair housing.
Oh yeah, yeah. East Blair, like, was a big inspiration for our Emerald Village and the system.
One of the best places I know of, and
Yeah.
to address a lot of these.
And one of their members is our staff member that works at a lot of our co-ops. So there's a lot of cross pollination.
Places for one named Kyle Ash Eco Village.
Kyle Ash.
Kyle Ash.
Haven't heard of that one.
I'll write it down for you. Check it out.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What happened was a private individual bought a rundown, drug-infested apartment complex. of 35 units.
I have heard of this, yeah.
Yeah. And turned it into an eco village
Yeah.
for 20 years. It's a rental. It's not a buying in, but it's affordable. But Kyle Ash Eco Village, and it just looked
Nice.
and they bought the next door rundown apartment complex, and that's going to be an eco village also.
Sweet.
So this is a great model. There's, who knows, thousands of rundown apartment complexes all over the country that could benefit, by, of course, a couple $1 million to buy the place.
For sure.
But I'll write that down for you. You'll be very interested.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Can you repeat the price range? again? Sorry.
We haven't locked.
I thought you had a.
Yeah, it'll be
That's affordable.
it'll be under 80% AMI,
Okay.
but we haven't really run the locked in the pro forma in terms of what the actual housing
AMI
costs.
is average median income for this area.
Yeah, I think for a single family household, that's $50,000, so under $50,000 a year.
One of the things you did was have an open house that was part of the Bring Tour when Emerald Villages opened up. That was such a great community
Yeah, I remember that.
educational piece.
Yes.
It brought a lot of people that were wavering about their support. It really brought them on board when they were able to talk to the residents, through the
for sure.
homes. And I'm hoping that you could do something like that for our neighborhood.
Yeah.
When we get to that point.
Got it. Yeah, for sure.
How do you recruit and select residents?
It's an open application process. So we do a lot of outreach in the months leading up to the application, reaching out just to make sure we're reaching diverse populations and such. And we do co-op information sessions. So prior to being able to sign up for a membership in the co-op, you have to come to an information session and learn about what the extra kind of roles and responsibilities are for living in a co-op. And we found that extra step kind of helps solidify that people are being matched up with the right housing opportunity. I think that's something we've definitely improved on a little bit at a time on each project. Yeah.
I remember when Emerald Village started that it was the members selected the new members, and there was priorities for people, who had been in house and things like that. Is that carried over or developed in some way since then?
I mean, we typically we select the initial batch of residents, right, and then their co-op, so they have a membership committee that then has their own kind of application intake process and membership review process. So yeah, Square One just selects that initial group, and then it's kind of turned over to the co-op's control.
Would it be appropriate or not to say a little more about the financing? I don't know if it's to be kept very private to each group, but all I've heard is that someone who wants to live there is to pay $5,000 down and about $800 or more dollars a month.
Yeah, I can
for
speak.
all the months that they live there.
I can speak to Peace Village very specifically. I think that's what you're referring to. So Peace Village is serving households under 60% AMI, so that's closer to like 40,000 and under for a one-person household. Between 30 and 60 AMI. It's a $5,000 buy-in to become a member of the cooperative, and then the monthly carrying charge is between $450 and $750 a month, depending on the unit size. And a carrying charge is essentially the monthly payment that each member makes to the cooperative corporation to pay all of the co-op's bills, including utilities, insurance, maintenance. We get property tax exemption, so that helps. So it's super affordable.
So are most of the people who get involved still employed?
At Peace Village, I would say, yeah, either that or living. We also have like a lot of older folks living on a fixed income or that has a disability, living on SSI, or part-time income, or yeah. But it's a pretty broad mix for sure. And I think with this next one, we're looking to have like a little bit broader income mix, up to 80% AMI, that I think will kind of expand that as well. Yeah.
I have a really hard question for you, so I'm saving it for last. I'm the unofficial secretary tonight, so can you tell me your last name?
Heben, H-E-B-E-N. Yeah. And I was curious if the road behind Maxwell there, behind the church, is an LARS. It looks like it is. It's kind of,
Yes.
kind of a graph. Yeah.
You know them all by heart, do you?
This is just, I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
It's not as though you're so independently responsible for this, but the more and more developments that happen in our neighborhood, which is happening, which is great because it does put an impact on the neighborhood.
For sure.
And traffic, there's a lot of needs that the neighborhood will probably continue to grow, needs for, there's traffic, of course, that's going to increase. And then with, in a lot of ways, we're out here in a food desert of sorts, and I don't know, there's just a lot of things that have not been developed in this neighborhood. And so the more developments that come into the neighborhood, there's going to be more need for things that support a higher population of people.
Sure.
I suppose it's how it usually happens, is that first comes, the housing. But I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. And I'm not super familiar with it, but it seems like you guys are developing a neighborhood plan that includes more transit options and things like that. That should provide connections to shopping centers someday.
But this, the developments that are happening are speeding ahead.
Yeah.
Ahead of what
No, I remember
happening.
that plan was being talked about when we were doing our Peace Village development, so it hasn't, yeah.
So do you do an overall projection or plan? Like, I don't know, dude. I'm not a developer. I don't know what it means to do that, but
For like the larger area?
a holistic plan for the impact that it has on a neighborhood. I don't know. Again,
I mean, that's more of like a city of Eugene type role and like neighborhood.
But also developers are part of that too.
Yeah. I mean, certainly we don't want to develop housing in areas that aren't ideal to live in, aren't accessible to services and transportation. I don't know that we feel like this site falls in that category.
Yeah.
But
Any other questions? The city is developing a strategic plan, and there are some of those people.
all right, cool. All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Coming out. So you were asking about what you call them, nonprofit developers. There's the other nonprofit housing development that's happening right now is down the street by Reality Kitchen, and this is where we have the slides. Legacy Park, yeah. And they were going to come today, but the ED is out of town, so she just sent us pictures. Anyway, Cascade Housing Associates is a nonprofit organization. They specialize in low-income affordable housing in Oregon, Idaho, and some other else. Let's see, where's my notes? California. They are nonprofit, so theoretically they're not doing this to get rich. And this, you want to go to the next? This is their contact information. They have a web page. I encourage you to check it out if you're interested. Christy Isham is the executive director there. She said that since she couldn't be here today, if you have any questions, feel free to contact her directly. And they sent me this rendering. It's going to be three-story buildings with 47 rental units. That looks a whole lot like more than 3 buildings. So I don't know if that's an updated.
It's hard to tell how
picture. Yeah, so they're looking for 47 units there, and 11 will be 2-bedroom units for people who earn up 50% of the AMI. And then, which is 44,550 for a household of 4. I don't know how you could live on that, but and then the remaining 36 units are for households that earn up to 60% of the area median, which is 53,460 per household 4. So those units will range from 1 to 3 bedrooms each. So go to the next slide.
I've got all of those things on one side is one building. They're all connected.
Yeah. So it seems like a fairly large development. You'll drive by there, you'll see they've already got ground and houses, dirt and factories and porta potties and stuff like that.
Where's the bike path?
Next slide. Didn't come through? No, there it is. There's the bike path.
Okay.
So we did have some discussions with them early on about wanting to have vegetation shielding buildings from the bike path and the natural green area. So that represents something there. Maybe. They also had wanted to have a private path to connect to the bike path, and John led the charge to say you can't build private paths on public property. So,
as well.
huh? Julie, right. And so they are not doing that. Yeah. They said that's been off the table. Yeah. So that's the plan. John, go, John. Yeah.
Just a comment from the earlier photo, back a couple, there's more interest in providing housing for cars than there is for people. That was just a horrible photo. Half the property was parking lot. There's more going into providing places for cars to park than for people.
Yeah, that's the current culture we live in. So they don't have the same kind of progressive model that Square One works with. But the city, basically what the city does is they contract with nonprofit organizations, developers, to construct these types of projects. So this is an example of another way that goes about happening. Any questions? You want to take it back to the first slide?
Yeah, so we can see the contact.
Okay, so that's the contact information. And
When a nonprofit builds a thing, do they promise to maintain ownership as opposed to selling it?
they have 20 years. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John. There's 20-year thing on it.
If they get federal funding or state funding for their projects, then there is a number of years that they have to maintain it before they sell it.
I remember Echo saying that it was 4 years.
Yes, that was not a nonprofit.
Yeah, Echo
No,
was.
it's not a nonprofit.
And
Their
there was
idea
no
of affordable, does it say?
Well, it's a bait and switch from the state.
I don't think they ever said anything about it.
No.
Yeah, those originally pitched as affordable, and they changed it. Yeah, they backed down.
I wrote it down.
Yeah. So, right, so there's the for-profit developers, like, and the other one that's down there by
Bello.
Julie's house, Bello, and that's also not a nonprofit.
Same company.
Same company. as
Echo
Echo.
put, what, like 3 years?
Yeah.
Three
Yeah,
years.
they put in a bunch of money
Yeah.
off of our neighborhood, big resources, community. So, support Square One direction.
And Cascade Housing.
In Cascade Housing, yeah. So that's the current influx of affordable housing that we know of. I'm sure there's other things coming down the pipe. Okay, go to the next thing. So, we put out a call for support about the corner market. Talk about development for food and what have you. That's moving forward. We don't have a developer partnership yet. We do have a pretty good little coalition of people from the neighborhood. About 20 people showed up to those spontaneous meetings to support developing this. And we met with the property owner who wants to be part of the process. He also wants to retire at 80 and he needs to get some resources to move on with his life. And we met with Studio E Architectures. They're the group that developed the Friendly Market food garden area. So the vision the community had was to make something similar to that. Now, one of the things about the neighborhood planning is that there's overlays for what's supposed to happen in certain parts of property, particularly along River Road. And I have that on, I don't have code right on. So that overlay said that we need high density and like 2-story development, multi-use stuff. So originally the convenience store company was going to move in there, build up. They obviously didn't do their due diligence because they would not have been able to build that there. Okay. So the thinking now is not to do a new building there, but to use the existing structure to create a food cart garden that has this covered area that could be a venue for outdoor events and concerts and what have you. There's a building there that could be built out for providing one of Penny and Tyrell's visions is to have healthy food for seniors instead of some meals to make that extra to go and have meals or to have other kind of food venue there. And so that's kind of what's in the works. The next step on that is that we need to get the funding. And we're approaching Dev Northwest, which used to be Medco, that does that kind of development work about managing such a thing, and they would also have resources for getting funding. Okay, what's on the screen right now? This is the before picture.
Does it come with the cards?
Actually, he's going to sell all the cards and that's retirement income. So that's the before picture. And then we have a rendering of a potential after picture, which is the next one. That's me. That's the thought about what it might look like afterwards. If you've ever been down there, take a few minutes to walk around the garden that's up in the other corner next to the store. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. There's big banana trees and big calendar, just all kinds of flowers and beautiful dahlias. Yeah. So we would extend that garden fence to the curb. We would have a sign. That sign says, "Welcome to the garden district." So we're thinking of it as a gateway to our neighborhood. Studio E, intern at Studio E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does this just include the car lot, or is it also the OG?
Both of the lots are owned by the same person, and Penny is going to try to retain the proprietorship of the corner market.
Cool.
And then this would be, we need people who want to take it on as a project. So if you know of anybody who's inspired by that idea and that vision, there's quite a team to support them to take that on.
Isn't there also housing law attached to this property?
No.
Is that required?
There are 4 lots totally, and there are houses, properties adjacent to it that are actually for sale. But it's not required because we're not doing new building.
Oh, okay.
John?
So are the lots where the car repair place also up for grabs?
That's that.
That includes that?
That is that. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
Well, what if it-
So, that makes us happy, but it is going to need some major financing and development expertise. And Studio E is one from them. They're other architects, mostly about, the pro bono to date, and probably trying to launch off the project.
Well, you guys really took the bull by the horns. That's something to be proud of.
So it's the property itself, it's not necessarily an expansion of access to other types of nursery and more of a retail.
Probably more like
restaurant
food carts,
kind of
but the Reality Kitchen is making a general store that's going to have dry goods. And I don't know what Penny's idea is. There's creative potential for that. Yeah.
Do you know when the round kitchen, the projection for opening that? Or projection-
No, I don't know.
A long time ago.
So, anyway, I hope that, you can network and find someone with a whole bunch of money who wants to invest in this project. There is actually a GoFundMe that Penny has started, that has some just starter funds for getting things rolling.
So we have till the end of the year.
Right.
To have